All right. Good morning. Good morning. Settle down, guys. Settle down. Some of you have been uh, dancing like there is no tomorrow, and that's how it should be. So, good morning and welcome to this wonderful Sunday morning where we do meet every Sunday, I guess, and move forward in life and in our business, right? So, I always look forward to these Sunday mornings, and I hope all of you are also here looking forward to what you're going to get. Yes? So I'm very, very excited because the person who's going to come today is someone who's fantastic. Okay, so I'll come to that, in a bit. But before we, get him today to come and talk to us and share his wisdom, that he has gathered over all these years of being in the business, we need to be ready. So are you guys ready? Yes? Okay, some of you are still getting ready. So if you just woken up, guys, whatever state you are in, now make sure that for the next 1.5 hours or so, you are here 100%. Okay, so that's the first ground rule. Be here 100% for the next 1.5 hours, whatever is happening in the world. Okay, it doesn't affect you. You can't change it. You are here. And because you are here for a reason. So be here, and the next 1.5 hours has the potential to change everything. Okay? So be here 100%. And for that, one of the most important things is to make sure that we are not just physically here, but we are also here with our mind. Okay? And the mind works best when it is open. So let's work on that a little bit. Okay, so for those of you who are not aware of what's happening, if this is your first time, okay, just follow what's happening on the screen and ask your upline about this. This is this ritual that we do, and when I say ritual, it's it's done because it helps for us to become ready to receive. Okay, so guys, close your eyes. Okay, hold your virtual cup in your left hand. Okay, take a deep breath and put everything that's in your mind right now into this cup. Anything that can stop you from receiving, from learning, all the great things that happened, in the last week, the not so great things, all the checks you made, all the signups that happened, all the things that didn't happen. The Sunday morning, if you're in a place which is very cold, forget the cold. You are here. Put everything in the cup. Okay. Your office, your boss, parents, spouse, everything. And when you feel lighter, the cup feels heavier, just invert the cup. Let Mother Earth soak it up. Take another deep breath and open your eyes. Feel better? Feel lighter? Okay. You guys can hear me clearly, right? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Okay, and I still see we are still practicing. We still haven't figured out, a lot of people still haven't figured out how to switch on their videos. Next time we're going to make a short video and play it before we start on how you can switch on your video on Zoom. It's a little button on the bottom left if you're on a computer. It's a little button which looks like a camera, which would currently be showing a red cross against it. All you need to do is click on that, because when you click on that, you confirm to yourself that you are going to be here 100%, that for the next 1.5 hours, okay, you are committing yourself to this decision that you have made of making your dreams come true. It's a very, very small action, but it can have big implications. So guys, that little button on the left of the bottom that looks like a camera that is currently showing red cross against it, just click on it and be here 100%. That will ensure that you don't get distracted, and because you never know, one little word here spoken by the speaker can change everything. And at that time, because your cameras are off and you are looking into La La Land, you might miss it. So let's not do that. Let's be here. Okay, guys, get your videos on. And the last thing is that when today we have somebody who's coming on to share his journey and wisdom with us, okay, um, don't judge. Okay, don't judge how he looks, how he speaks, his language. Focus on what is being given, okay, and you will get what you want. So guys, ready? All set? Should I tell you more about who we are going to hear from today? Okay, great. So he's somebody who's been in the business for more than 10 years now, and but before that, before even becoming part of the business, he was somebody who was already creating massive success in his corporate career as well. Okay, and he's extremely he's what we call the from an education point of view, the elite, that this country has. He's part of that elite 1%, from an education point of view. He's an MBA finance from IIT Mumbai. Okay, he is a CFA FRM, which is actually a qualification that very few people in the world manage to achieve. And having become part of the educated elite in the country, he started working with one of the most prestigious brands, and over time, for a corporate journey of more than 10 years, he was working with Morgan Stanley, in the investments portfolio, managing the investments portfolio. And Morgan Stanley, as you all would know, anybody from banking would know, is one of the most prestigious names to be associated with. But having done all that, okay, he realized that was not his calling. And that's when this business came to him. And that was it. Once the business came to him, there was just no looking back. He had his shares of ups and downs. But he's somebody who set benchmarks, in terms of speed, in terms of, he has a lot of fastest to this one, fastest to that one, fastest to that one in this journey. He set a lot of those, benchmarks. So he's somebody who's, a diamond star. Okay. Somebody who's been recognized by the V. He's a V Council. Okay. And he has teams that are spread today all across the globe. He has an army of diamond stars, platinum stars, sapphire stars in his organization. So he's not just somebody who's built the business himself. He's helped a lot of people along in the journey, okay, achieve and tick their dreams. And he's somebody who's always on the ground, somebody who's constantly working on the ground with the team. I've heard stories that are crazy, okay, when on how he's connected to the last person in his organization. Okay, and that's what makes him who he is. Okay, I have known him practically the entire journey, and he's somebody who's always been inspiring. Okay, he's somebody who's always been inspiring, and somebody who's always been because he sets those benchmarks. You always look up to this person. We've served many times together in Vcons, and and over all these years, as our bond has grown, it's a lot of respect, a lot of love, and somebody who constantly keeps setting those benchmarks and moving forward. And that's what inspires all of us. As I said, I've known him for a long time now, and over all these years, we share something. He's like a brother, and we are like brothers, and there is a lot to learn from him. I keep doing that all the time. Every time I talk to him, every time I hear him, there is always something to take back. And which is why we are very lucky today to have him here. He's taken his time out. I called him just a couple of days back and asked him if he could do that, and he immediately agreed to be here. So we are all lucky, we are all blessed to have him here, because what he's going to share today is wisdom that has been gathered from experience. So there is no gyan that you will get. Okay, but I promise you, it's going to be a very interesting session. His sense of humor is something to die for, and but you have to get it. Okay, it's also a little evolved, and but if you get it, the next 1.5 hours are not only going to be full of learnings. Okay, but it's also something you will take back for a long, long time to come. And that's always what happens. Every time I hear him, whatever he says, stays with you for a very, very long time. And that's what's going to happen today also. So guys, are you ready? Are you ready to get this unbelievable person on? I don't see it. Show me. I know you can't speak, but you can. Okay, fantastic. So before I get him on, I'm going to play his a little video. So if I can request in service to play his video. So guys, are you ready? Because we have today with us none other than V Council Amit Soni coming and talking to us. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you, Amit bhai. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Mohit bhai. And I don't know if Mohit remembers, I met him for the first time when I was in my second month in the journey. He was my captain in my first camp when I was attending LS. So I do have very clear memories of what I learned from him at that stage. And thank you. And that isn't it. I mean, that's where it started. And since then, it's always been a journey where I'm learning from him, observing him. And that's it. So good morning to all of you all. Okay, some of you all look, so most of you all are smiling, which is good, great. So guys, before anything, just smile. It's okay. You can just chill and relax. I'm here to have a conversation. Okay, although I know some of your, so for some of you, your uplines would have called you and said, wake up and join the system. That always happens. With us, our uplines used to kidnap us and take us. In fact, never happened with me, but I had to do that with some of my downlines when we had physical systems, which will eventually start soon, I believe. But anyways, here. So can I start by sharing my journey? Because I believe none of you would, or most of you would not be aware of my journey. So I started 10 years back. I started QNET 10 years back. Before that, I was at Morgan Stanley. I was a very happy, satisfied, content in my corporate career till a certain incident happened. Like I used to work like crazy. I used to work even, for people who work in investment banking, financial services, it's very normal over there, even if you have temperature of 102 to go to office and work. That's what that job demands. So I used to work with all those kinds of conditions, and a sudden fallout happened between me and my boss just a year before I started QNET. Okay, so around December 2010 is when a sudden fallout happened with me and my boss and my senior, my super boss. And that's when I lost trust in them. And I said, you know what? I can't work with these people. So I did not know at that moment what to do. And that was a very stressful period for me, frankly. Why stressful? Because something they had done which was not okay with me. And I was like, I could not go to work. I was not looking forward to go to work every day and work with these people. So I told myself either I can crib and cry or I can do something about it and change the situation. And I've learned one thing in my life from campus, that there's no point in cribbing and crying over anything. If you realize there's something that you don't like, right, move, change your situation, change your stage in life and do something else. So since then I was open to some idea and I did not know what, honestly. Frankly, when I was very much anti-business. I'll tell you why anti-business, because I come from a traditional business family and I never liked the way that business operated or whatever businesses I saw. So I was very much anti-business. So thankfully my referrer, the angel who signed me up in this business, we counsel Pooja Viragiwala. She never, when she invited me or she called, prospected me, she never told me, this is what it is. She said, it's some project. I said, okay, there's some project we have to do. Fair enough. In fact, I clearly remember it was 22nd October 2011. It was a Saturday. And on weekends, I would never work. I was lying like a crocodile on my bed, relaxing. And by 5:36 in the evening, I get a call from her. And she said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. Weekends, I don't do anything. She said, let's catch up. I said, okay. Okay. And of course, she said, let's catch up. And there's some interesting opportunity. I was like, fine. I went and met her at a coffee shop. She spoke to me for half an hour, 45 minutes. Did not tell me anything about the business. And thank God, thanks to her. I don't know why sometimes prospects feel, why are they hiding anything? I said, it's not about hiding, because coming from a professional background, I understood that not everything can be spoken at each point in time. Probably certain information has to be revealed at the right time. So I said, it's okay, maybe a professional setup. So she said, fair enough, I can introduce you to my senior partner, and maybe if there's some synergies, we can start working together. I still remember only one request I made to her, okay, call me over a weekend, because weekdays, there's no life. Okay, weekdays, it's all for my company. So then the next day, 23rd itself, she called me for a plan. It was a Sunday. And my plan was scheduled at 8 in the evening. Okay. And since morning, she made 10 phone calls to me. I hope you're serious. I hope you're going to be there on time. I hope you're serious. I hope you're going to be there on time. I hope, to the point, initially I got fed up. I said, listen, if I've given you my word, I'll be there. Okay. So, and then it dawned on me when I kept the phone for the 10th time that maybe I'm going to meet someone so senior that she's just freaking out, So indirectly the edification was happening. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to meet. Like, मुझे लगा पता नहीं माँ लक्ष्मी आ जाएगी, पता नहीं who's going to come. Who is this lady she's talking about? Maybe it's like Goddess Lakshmi or Goddess of Will. I have to be there on time. I can't miss. So unlike me, I am never late. I'm just on time, or 5-10 minutes here and there. I'm not late, but I never go well before time. Okay, so I reached half an hour before time just because 10 phone calls came. And so I reached by 7:30 in KAVITA. Okay, so my plan was taken by none other than V partner KAVITA. She took my plan. Okay, and thank God for that. So she came by 9 o'clock. So I was waiting for 90 minutes. But honestly, during those 90 minutes, so Pooja Viragiwala was there, and her referee Akshada was also sitting. So two of my appliances were sitting, and we were just chit-chatting. And for those 90 minutes, I did not feel, why is someone being late? Because the edification was so strong, not for a moment. And these girls were so comfortable. We were just chit-chatting. I was asking them about their journey, how it has been, how are they feeling about it. And the way they were talking, I was all excited. I was like, if it's so good, let's just hear it out. The 9 o'clock KAVITA came and she took the plan. And I still remember all of us who've seen the plan, there is always that one moment where we switch from shall I do it to let's do it, man. Okay. And I still remember that moment for me was when that time KAVITA told that the business opportunities of around 3.5 crores. That time the compensation plan was different. Okay. So it was $625,000 a week. And at the dollar value that time, it was roughly around 3.5 crores. And then she told that number. I asked her, I still remember, the edification was so fantastic. I like raised my hand because, it's rude to interrupt someone when that person talks. So I just raised my hand. She said, what happened? I said, you're talking this number, 3.5 crores. Will we be the first people who are going to earn it, or has someone already earned it? So she said, yeah, my husband Sachin's earning that kind of money, and Sachin by V partner was maxing out that time. So I said, okay, great. So if someone has done it and that person is going to help me earn that kind of money, then I had a self-image. I said, Amit, you're not a donkey. If someone who's earning that kind of money is willing to help you, then God is not going to come to planet Earth to help you out. Correct? So if this person has come, is sent by God, just jump onto it. Okay. Honestly, did not understand much. Coming from my background, thinking too highly about my own education. I did not understand much about the business. I just understood, yes, I understood it's network marketing, but it seemed network marketing with a difference. Secondly, I understood there are good people here. I could feel. So I go a lot by how I feel, what was the vibe. Because they say now, to see is to be deceived, to hear is to be lied to, but to feel is to believe. So I felt something good about it. And I just said yes. And next day, I mean, I had to come at a very high stake. That time I was not told that the opportunity, I was told that the opportunity you cannot start below 10 lakhs. So I said, yeah, of course, every business requires some kind of money. So I had to go and increase my card limit or figure out. So it took me a day. And trust me, when it was destined, because next day I never used to use so I had two credit cards that time. One was an Amex corporate card, which Morgan Stanley gives to every employee, which has no limit. I didn't want to use Amex because I didn't want some tracking happening there. What is this guy doing signing up with QNET? You can understand these things. So I want to use my own card, which I had never used because I was against credit cards. I was like a bhakt of Warren Buffett. Don't use plastic money and all, all those things. So I never used it. So I called up the bank that, there's a limit of 5, I want to increase it to 10. They said, okay, just hold on. And within 5 minutes, they increased my limit. So, and that time I felt that increasing a card limit is like a piece of cake. And every prospect of mine to whom I told this, that never happened with them. So anyways, then I understood it's a difficult thing. But card limit increased, and 24th October, I went and signed up. And I used to stay in a joint family. Now I've shifted to Dubai. I used to stay in a joint family back home. With my elder brother, my babi, my mom, dad, my dadi. So I didn't go back home and tell anything because I looked like a fool, because I knew if I would tell them I've started a business, they'll all say, oh, okay, what is this all about? And I honestly didn't have much of an idea. I only knew there's money to be made, some product you need to buy, and these people will help me make money. And they told me about the entire training program, what happens, and I said, done. That was enough. Because coming from a financial service background, I know you can't. Some people now think like forever for a small decision. I swiped my card and I told myself 10 lakhs gone down the drain. I'll not worry about the money. I'll only focus on how I can make the crores that I was told about, the millions I was told about. So very sorted here. I mean, I told myself, see, honestly, there are people now when they swipe their card, suddenly their palpitations start, the heartbeat, the breath, they become short of breath. And I don't know why. Relax. It's not going to happen over one day. It took me almost a year to understand the business. Correct? While I was working and earning money. So it won't happen on one day. So anyone who started new and is going through these emotions, just relax and calm yourself down. There are people willing to help you each day. And so 24th of October, this happened. I just came back and told my mom. So my mom is someone, she'll never question me. To her, if the world goes and tells your child has or your son has done something wrong, she's like, bullshit. My son can't do anything wrong. I just told her, what, I've started this business. She said, okay, good. Today is Dhanteras. I had no clue that day was Dhanteras. Like, honestly, little did I that time care about it. And I had no clue. So I just said, okay, fair enough. I told her, don't tell anything to anyone. Mom and son secret. So she said, okay, done. And I was called for the first system on 26th October. It was the day of Diwali, 2011, evening, during the time of Lakshmi Puja. It was a Wednesday. 7 o'clock, I was called for a system. And I told my upline, listen, before I started the journey, I told them on weekdays, I'll be busy. I'll come only by 10 to association, or I get only free by 9:30, 10. But weekends are there for me entirely. And weekdays also I can stretch till midnight or beyond that. So I'm not too fond of, I'm fond of sleep, but I can compromise on that. So then my referrals, Akshada told, no, there's a very important system, you've got to come. I said, what if I would have signed up by Friday or Saturday? So I could have come from Sunday onwards. So big deal, I'll miss the system. She said, no, you can't miss. I said, but it's very important and it's the day of Diwali. She said, yeah, of course, it's my Diwali also. I said, but Lakshmi Puja is a big deal at my home. She said, same here. I asked her, why are you insisting so much? She said, someone great is going to come for the system, this, that. I actually felt again like Sachin Tendulkar or someone will come. And I asked, so who's this person? She said, So we partner Dev took that system. That time he was just Dev. So Dev is going to be there. And I'm looking with a question mark, who's Dev? I had no clue. Then she spoke, he only comes once or twice a year. And thank God and thank her, she pushed me for the system. Honestly, it was a 5-minute conversation, not more than that. She said, just come. And again, I could feel if she's insisting so much, has to be something good. But don't ask me how I managed to escape from the whole drama of a joint family and Lakshmi Puja and Diwali being the festival or the occasion when the family is all together and no compromise on that. I don't know how. I just sneaked out. Okay. And switched off my phone and I went for the system. And when I came for my first system, I see people dancing. And I got the shock of my life. I am someone who doesn't even dance in the bathroom when no one is watching. The idea of dancing that time was alien. Correct? People say I have a left feet, I have 2 left feet. I cannot dance. The idea of dancing is like, oh my God, what's this? Forget that. 500 people are dancing, and then my uplines, my senior upline. So Rakesh Bhai comes and tells me, if you don't dance, you will not make money. That is the only time I felt cheated. Trust me, that's the only time I felt cheated in the journey. I said, you should have told this to me before I signed up, because I don't hate dancing. I hate the idea of me dancing. Okay. So luckily, by the time with a lot of difficulty, I just tried to move out of the, row and go to dance. The speaker, like how Mohit, so the speaker came to edify, introduce. I got saved. But that system, so there's a technical sign up that happens in the business when you swipe your card or you do your RTGS or whatever means, where you're registered on the virtual office and your product is bought, and there's a mental sign up. The mental sign up is the moment you decide, I will do this seriously. Okay. And for me, that mental sign up was on that day, within 2 days of my sign up. And thank God, I don't know, it was all meant to happen, I believe. And that day, we partner Dave, he just blew my mind. I was like, I honestly, by that time also did not understand what I need to do, because my welcome hadn't happened. Because I had weekdays, no time, right? So only weekend welcome can happen. And the system happened. I only told myself, I want to be where that person is. I just love him because and I'll tell you what was going on in my upline's mind. We partner Dave took a very straight system. He gave everyone straight on their face exactly what kind of life you're living and what kind of life is in store if you do this business seriously. And I loved the honesty and the truth with which he said, your life sucks. And I was like, yeah, man, whatever he's saying makes sense. So I just loved it. And many years later, Gautam, V Council Gautam told me that I was scared that day. I don't know what's going to happen because he's giving left, right, center. And it's your first system. I don't know how you'll take it. And you wouldn't have seen that avatar of V Partner Dev. He was aggressive. And I'm sure Mohit will remember. And some of the old timers will remember how he used to take systems or camps that time. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And till then, I had no clue, nameless, dreamless, also nothing happened. Sign up and then system. Then Sunday morning system happened, and then the welcome happened after that. And that's when I got to know nameless and all. So that's how the journey started. Now, honestly, the same problems that you guys face, or many of you would have faced, I faced. No name list. I was a diehard introvert. Introvert to the extent that I used to love my job, because when I go to office Monday morning till Friday evening, 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours a day, I and the monitor keep staring at each other and we don't talk. Correct? So I was that kind of a person. And when I to the extent that, when let's say I'm walking towards my home and I see from a distance someone is coming, I would cross over to that side of the road. So that from a distance, you don't have to talk. You can just say, bye. Okay, so I was like talking was the last thing that would happen for me, and would rarely, I could go to a wedding, as a teenager, when your family says it's an important wedding and it's not a very close family member's wedding, or any party, which I would mostly avoid, but someone forces me, like my chacha or my mom, I would go. I could sit 4 hours quietly by myself in the days when there was no mobile phone. I didn't have one. and be happy. And people would be feeling that he's feeling left out. I said, no, when you leave me out, I feel good. So just leave me, and I don't know, some people, they want to be out. Like, for example, during the lockdown, I was 6 months in a hotel room in Dubai all by myself, and I was very happy. People were getting, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck there. I was like, it's okay. I love my own company and I can be very happy with it. So that's how I was. And I was like, oh my God. But I told myself, no, earlier I did not have a reason. Okay. One thing about me, I was always very serious about making money. Right from the time that I can think about the concept of money that was introduced to me, I was very clear, I want to make a lot of it and I will make a lot of it. Confidence, we are Punjabis. I'm a Punjabi. Confidence is not a problem. Overconfidence is a problem. So I'm sure you would have met a lot of Punjabi people like, so I was always overconfident. Paisa to bana lenge. That's not it. Kaise banana, we just need to figure out. Okay. So that was never an issue. And overconfidence always hurt me in life till I met a professor at IIT who told me, overconfidence is good if you match it with a great work ethic. Overconfidence with kamchori, with a bad work ethic will kill you. But overconfidence with a great, phenomenal work ethic will work wonders. So that since then I practice this. But anyways, so that's how it started. And then I lined up my first plan. In fact, what my first plan, that person was my hot zone. And he called me. I was actually, just when I started the journey, I was back from Frankfurt a week back. And I was about to invest in some property or I wanted to buy some piece of land and something. So he's more like a cousin brother, related like cousin, but like family friends. So he called me, my brother called me and he said, so I've done the due diligence. All the documents are in place. The lawyers have said we can invest. So right? If you buy a piece of land, you have to do a lot of due diligence. So all that is done. Come, let's put in the money. I said, wait, hold on. I've just started a business. I may need some funds here. So hold on. And he, what his response was? You are doing business, because he knows me. I was anti-business. I am also doing it with you. I said, okay, hold on. Now imagine my welcome is not done, because this was even before my first system. I said, relax, Baba, relax. Let me first understand the details. Then I'll let you know. If it's good, then you can also do it. Can you imagine? Okay. And he would have just given me money, 10 lakhs like that. For 10 lakhs for him was not a big deal. It was like, keep it okay. And he would have worked also, but I just called him for the plan. And we were like very close. Like we used to invest together. Can you imagine? I would invest on his word, he would invest on we were like that close. And we could completely relate with each other. Same mindset, same ambition, everything. He's doing well in life, not as well as me, but he's doing pretty well for himself, starting from scratch. So I called him for the plan. I did not follow anything. Rakesh Bhai kept telling me, Amit, you need to edify. I said, edify? I'm calling him. That's edification, right? You can understand the ego. Okay. So if you don't know, let me tell you. Investment bankers have egos similar to that of dash. You can imagine. We think we rule the world, or people, I don't know if any investment bankers on the call, we think we are God's gift to humankind. That is in the end, that's to put it very modestly. So I am calling him, bro. Nothing, don't worry, everything will be fine. Then he told me to do the closing. I said, he's smart, he'll understand himself. You won't believe, we partner KAVITA took the plan in association. Rakesh Bhai sat with me. We partner, Dev came during the plan and met my prospect. And I was like, Kalas, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh have met the prospect. Now they will sign up. He will sign up. But he didn't sign up. I got the shock of my life from there. I like, shh, Kalas. What happened? I didn't understand. So then I realized this business won't work, because I come from the field of investments. When I talk money, he has to put, right? He looks up to me. He knows who I am, and I'm telling him he's not putting money. So there's something that's different that's happening here. So I understood that I need to follow the process. I did not do. The good part with my uplines though, they were not going hammer and tongs at me. They told me early on, do these things. When I did not do it, they told me, see, I told you. So to all the uplines, you need to have patience with new people. It's okay. it's okay to make some mistakes. And to the new people, don't make too many mistakes. Making mistakes is good. Repeating mistakes is stupidity. And from that moment, the next plan onwards, my edification was top class. My closing was there. The next 8 or 10 plans I showed, everyone signed up. Because I did everything to the T. Because I realized one thing, I can't keep repeating mistakes. And my list was not that big. You can imagine. After this person, my next 2 signups, I'll just tell you, my first 2 warm zones were people who I had met only on 2 occasions in 5 years prior to that time. Can you imagine? My social life was non-existent. What a social life? I didn't know. I only knew career. That's it. So I just signed, but I followed the process. Whatever was told, I became like a robot. I said, let me follow the process, understand it. Achha, understanding also at that point I didn't have. I said, let me just follow what they are saying. Gradually I'll understand and it's all okay. But right now I can't afford to lose my prospects because I don't have too many. Okay, also I'll tell you one more thing. So, you know, when it comes to this business, there are 2 things that work, your personal credibility and your likability. Credibility doesn't mean what you've achieved, and credibility means how honest you have been in your dealings with people all along. When people think of you, what do they think? Is he an honest person, you know, or is he a dishonest bugger? And second is likability. My likability, even in my own family and my cousins, was negative. Because an introvert who is very successful is considered as very snobbish. Akadu, akarta hai sala. So that's what people used to talk about me. So I knew my likability, so I need to somehow close. So these things started happening, and then I started following the process to the T. And I was only told one thing: every week you need to do a personal L1. L1, you all know, 10,000 DVs, personal DR. That was a mantra. Gautam told me every week you need to do your L1, come what may. And for the next 8 weeks to 10 weeks, there was never a week where I missed my personal L1. By the 5th week onwards, by the 6th or 7th week onwards, my team also started following that. And my L2 started happening. My first L3 50 UVs happened in the 3rd month itself. Because that was a mantra told to us, every week personal L1. Only one thing, okay? For that, of course, there's a backward calculation. You show so many plans and, you know, 1 will sign up. It's like 10-7-4-2. 10 people you call for a plan, 7 will come on the table, 4 will like the business, 2 will eventually sign up. This ratio does work out. Initially, your ratio would be higher than this because the list is more of hot and warm, and eventually the ratio will come down because when you go into cold zone, the conversions eventually do come down a bit. That started happening, and everyone started following this personal L1 thing. And I still remember 3rd, 4th month in the business, there was an event in Kurla, Bantara Bhavan. That is the venue. And of course, VC Gautam was my CTC upline. He was the first full-time upline I was working with. He was my working upline. Okay. So in this 3 to 4 months, my day would start with a phone call from him. 8:30 in the morning, I would wake up. My day would end with a phone call to him, 3:30 midnight, middle of the night. So I used to sleep. So, okay, I had to create 3 hours a day. So where to do it from? I used to sleep 8 hours. I used to believe my body needs 8 hours of sleep. Then I started reducing it from day 1, 3 hours, because that's what I've done in my studies. That when there's more work, sleep less. So sleep 5 hours a day, 3 hours to the business dedicatedly, and of course, then from office also within a couple of months I started doing. And during the day, at least 8 to 10 conversations I would have with my uplines, with Gautam, with Rakesh Bhai, with Pooja Viragiwala and Akshara. Every day. That was my mantra. Because for me, okay, so even people are introvert, when you know there is a purpose to a discussion, you would do it. So not that I can't do my presentations at Morgan Stanley, I could not do my work, because I knew this is required. So I used to talk a lot with them, and not like I would not talk for 1 hour, but 5-10 minute calls multiple times a day. That was a thing which really helped me tremendously. In fact, my family that time would tell me, you talk more with your upline than us. And I was like, yeah, just leave me aside for a few years. And for people who started new, you must be facing this issue, right? Family tells, oh, it is Diwali, it is Holi, it is Eid, it is Christmas, it is anniversary. it is our pet dog's birthday, it is, that auntie's some kuch to hone wala, to usliye I told my family, I asked my upline how to tackle all this drama. Because joint family, imagine, too much drama happens. Huh? So they said, listen, 4 years, 5 years, you can't do any of this. Focus on work. And then every day you can go for such parties or such functions if you want. So I came back and I told my family once and for all, listen, imagine I have joined the army. Okay. And I'm posted on the border and there's a war going on. Now you can't expect me to come back and leave my work aside. If I do come back, take it as a bonus. Means if I'm there on some, but from now on till the next 5 years, don't ask me questions. Will I be there on this day? Will I be there on that day? There's that end of discussion period. Okay. And I love my family at least once, and they also know me. Once this guy said it, then he will follow. So there's no point arguing with him. Okay. That happened. And of course, I signed up all my hot zones. Not all my hot zones. My first hot zone I spoiled. Then my family, of course, my father and everyone, I signed up. That's a different story. But what I'm trying to tell you all is stick to the basics. And if you have started new, of course, you will see, you can decide. Some people now, I want to do a PhD on QNET before I show my first plan. I tell people, even if you do a PhD, bloody, I'll be your supervisor or your professor. Do it, no problem. But you will not make money. Correct? PhD, we used to call na permanent head damage. Will not help you get anywhere. Or you learn and you start working. While you're working, you will keep and earning, you learn more. Like the world of investments. The best professor in the best college in the world who teaches you investments does not necessarily make money. In fact, it doesn't make money on his investments. The best teacher, when I started working in the Indian stock markets, all these old Gujarati and Marwadi investors who did not even know English, they taught me a lot about investments while interacting with them on a chai tapri and having a cup of tea or bhel puri, at Dalal Street, Bombay Stock Exchange. So they taught me a lot because they had the wealth of wisdom of experience. And I learned a lot. Of course, they could not give me a theory to how this works, but they knew if the rains are good, then these stocks will do well. If the harvest is good, these stocks will do well. Whatever, they have their own logic. Correct? So you don't need to know everything, but you need to know at least one thing, that stick to the basics, follow your upline and whatever your uplines tell you. Guys, I was always missing a mentor in my life. I'll tell you why. Coming from a business family, no one in my family studied so much. I'm the odd man out. No one in my family, if someone is a graduate, whether it's BCom or BA with 40% marks, people distribute sweets. Mithai vato. Ladka pass ho gaya. I come from that background. Correct? So there's no one to guide me on what courses to take, so I did my engineering, realized I'm not made for it. Then came into finance and then did other courses. There was no one to guide me on my corporate career. Because there's no one who's worked in corporates. They don't understand corporate politics. If I talked to my brother, he said, "Main kisi ka naukar nahi ban sakta." I said, that's what the thought was. So I can't learn from them. So I was always missing a mentor. And I still remember, even in my childhood, when I used to study, I asked my grandfather, I still remember this conversation with my grandfather's elder brother as a 8-year-old kid. I asked him, why is it that in school also the guys who come first, they're very secretive. They don't discuss anything. They don't talk about, which notes they do or what. He said, listen, I'll tell you one mantra in life. Person who comes first will never tell you how he comes first. Okay. So I said, then what to do? He said, look at all the people who are coming last. Keep doing the opposite and you'll keep moving up the ladder. Okay. And that became my mantra. So if someone who comes last is doing this, I should not do that. Okay. So, but here in this business, I finally found people who's coming first and who are the top achievers, laying out the entire roadmap and helping me. And the moment I got that, I was like, thank you, God, I was asking for this. And of course, following them was not easy. Correct. Following anyone is not easy. First, I had to take care of my own ego and all that. But I understood one thing. If I don't follow them, if I don't do the basics, like reading my books. Okay. When the books and all were given, I thought these books are for people who are not educated. or people have not done well in their studies. Can you imagine the ego? This must be for the kids. Oh, you study. I used to give the books to my team and I would not read because these are not for me. I've read 100 times more books than this, but those were useless. They never helped me make millions. And of course, couple of months in the journey, Gautam had a very uncomfortable and difficult conversation with me. He hammered me. Bloody hell, read books. So of course, I did make that mistake, but don't do that. Don't delay. So then I read all the books, watched the DVDs. Rakesh to the point told me, you don't have time, it's okay when you're having a breakfast, having a lunch, put on your laptop and just listen to the video, at least do that to begin with. So focus on the basics, your books, your DVDs, if you're new in the journey. And if you're 10-year-old also, if you're stuck, always remember, whenever in the journey you get stuck, check your basics. There's something that's wrong there. There's no rocket science. It's very simple. So books, DVDs, systems, I would never miss systems. Because I was told, because frankly, you want to be a multimillionaire and you can't dedicate 2 hours in a week on a fixed time on a Sunday morning for next 4 to 5 years. You are joking, not with me, with your own self. Correct? So attending systems, VCELs, lining up plans. Now guys, a lot of people, okay, so there's one category of people who, well, I tell the basics, they'll do systems, books. These are, they're lovers, they love the business, they love QNET. If someone talks something bad about QNET, they'll break their bones, this and that, but they don't implement what they've learned. Knowledge is useless if you don't implement it. Correct? Knowledge is not power. That's the most bullshit statement anyone can ever make. Knowledge, when applied, becomes powerful. So in the Mahabharata also it is said, knowledge and activity are the 2 wings of a bird. So if you want to fly in life, you need both the wings. So one set of people, when I tell them they'll read everything, they'll do everything, but they will not apply it. Now, application of this is basically when you're talking to people, when you're showing plans. Correct? And we were told very simply, every week show at least 4 to 5 plans. 1 or 2 will eventually sign up. Initially, 2 used to sign up out of the 4 5 plans, then eventually dropped to 1. And then of course, out of the ratio adjusted itself. But talking to people is important. Now, and for people who don't do that, so now I'll tell you what, when you start showing your plans, initially, of course, there's excitement, you may get results or you may not, but it's okay. My referrer, this I got to know 5th year in my journey, my referrer, Pooja Viragiwala, had to go through 97 rejections in 6 months before she saw her first sign up, which was me. I was the first DR and she had to go through 97 rejections. But good enough, after 97 rejections, she got me. And within a few more rejections, she got another great brother of mine, Rohan, who's on the other side. And now she's been a diamond star, max out forever. Correct? I joke of, I know she comes from Dombivli. Dombivli, for people who don't know, outskirts of Bombay, not a great place. Okay. So like there's a book now from Dongri to Dubai. So I said, we'll write a book on you from Dombivli to Dubai. Correct? Of how this business helped you change your life. But anyways, so showing plans consistently. Now, there's one thing I learned a few years back. Now, I want to introduce a concept which really helped me. Now, when you do work on a daily basis, so let's say you do something. So there is something which is a part of your habit, daily habit, and there's something where you take a certain action or you do a certain activity. Correct? Habits on one end of the spectrum and actions on the other end of the spectrum. Clear? These are 2 different things. Make sense? Now, out of these 2 things, where do you need to think more? Habits, you don't have to think. It comes naturally. Correct or not? You don't have to even think. For example, it's my habit to get up from this side of the bed. It is my habit that I hold the toothbrush like this. You don't think, you don't process. But for action, you have to process. Shall I do this? For example, shall I clean myself? I'll give you an example. Have you met people who are very cleanliness freaks, who love to clean all the time, this, that, and all? Have you met such people in your life? They're cleanly, they have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder of cleaning everything. Correct? For example, my working upline, the partner KAVITA, she has an OCD when it comes to cleaning. Now, cleaning is a habit for her. Cleaning for me is an action which I rarely take. Correct? Me cleaning the house. I never do it. Correct? I'll give you another example. Eating healthy food is a habit. Like my upline Rakesh bhai. So he was initially used to also, he was a bit plump and all, now he's reduced, he works out and he eats healthy. You put a buffet in front of him, he will, by default, he will pick up the healthy options. It's a habit for him. And for people like me, it's a struggle. The gulab jamun calls out to us, come and have me. Correct? I'm sure the people, food talks to you or not. It talks to me. Every dish looks me in the eyes and at times looks me in the heart and talks to me. Correct? So choosing the healthy food option is an action for me. I need to think there's a battle here. To someone like Rakesh Bhai, to someone who's very healthy, it becomes a habit. By default, another example, learning to drive your car. Initially, you look at the gear. If you're driving a car which is manual, not automatic, you look at the gearbox, you look at the clutch, you look here, there, everywhere. Correct or not? Eventually, you do it so often, it becomes a habit that you're on your phone. It's raining heavily, the wipers on, there's traffic light, this, and you're driving at a good speed, and you don't even know which gear you're on. Happens. So habits, you don't need to think anything. Actions, you need to think and process. Habits will give you long-term results in life. Correct? You go on a crash diet or something, that's an action you're taking. Till you adopt a healthy lifestyle and make it a habit, it will never sustain. Correct? Actions will always give you short-term results. Habits come from your subconscious mind, which is 90% of your entire brain power. It comes from a subconscious mind. Correct? Actions come from your conscious mind. I'll tell you one thing. You cannot, I read this some time back and I really loved it. You cannot decide your destiny. You decide your habits and they will decide your destiny. They will decide your future. I'll give you an example in this business. Talking to your upline 10 times a day, is it an action that you take or is it a habit? There are some people, I'm sure there are many on the call, we cannot digest food till we listen to our upline or we talk to that person. How many of you all can relate? You just feel the day is incomplete till I talk to this person. Correct or not? You just want to listen to that person. Even if there's no conversation, you don't have anything to ask, I have just called to listen to your voice. It's a habit. Showing plans, showing one plan a day or 5 to 6 plans in a week. Is it an action that you take or is it a habit? Prospecting people, doing your info, doing 5+3. Is it a habit or an action? Does someone have to chase you down? Have you done your 5+3? Have you done your 5+3? Okay, you've done 3 calls. Okay, do 2 more, please. Or is it a habit? Then I wake up and I get time whenever during the day and I do my 5 calls and I add 3 names. Correct? Attending system, is it a habit or an action? I'll tell you how, habits you start enjoying or it becomes a part of a life. Like my grandmother, when I started this journey, she was alive and she used to do a lot of havans in the house. She used to call the Panditji, we used to do her havan. She also knew, without me telling her, Sunday morning, if I schedule the havan in the house, this person will not be there. Correct? Even if there's a storm or there's a tsunami or something, he will go for the system unless he's on the hospital, which touchwood did not happen for the last 10 years. It happened while I was at Morgan Stanley, but did not happen for the last 10 years. Correct? So point is, you need to check what are your habits. Wasting time on Netflix, or for example, for people who watch this Netflix and Amazon Prime and who waste a lot of time on Facebook or Instagram, these apps shift delete from your life unless you're using Facebook and Insta for prospecting. You don't need Netflix. Netflix makes money out of your time and you waste time on that. You don't need Amazon. You don't need, earlier there was a saying, you can either have a vision or a television. The problem is over the last few years, this has replaced the television. Correct? So point is, when you have free time, What is your habit? What do you do with that free time? Do you read a book? Do you talk to your upline? Do you talk to your team? Do you talk to or do you watch Netflix or Instagram or I don't know? Correct. I called up a friend of mine, like one of my best friends, again a hot zone, never signed up. Later, I put a gun to his head and took money, literally, like my best friend. And I called him and I was talking about someone and he said, okay, just show me who that person is. I said, I'll send you the Instagram profile. He said, bro, I'm not on Instagram. Okay, I said, how do you exist? I asked him. He said, bro, there's no point of being on Instagram unless you're making money out of it. If you're not making money out of it, then it's a waste of time. Correct? And he is a very successful banker at Wall Street in New York, and he's doing pretty well for himself. So he said, I don't waste my time. I'm not making money out of it. So you need to decide, is wasting time a habit or getting distracted a habit? Or if someone comes and wants to distract you, you have to really think before you even waste your time there. So choose your habits carefully. And if today these are not your habits, they can very easily be built. The only point you need to think is when you're told, for example, sitting late night in association with your upline, late night calls. To some people, when we tell them late night call, they feel, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Such a bad day. For us, sitting late night in association with upline, we used to leave our upline like Sachin, KAVITA or Gautam, when we would go to their place or sit with them, like there are times we've been to Sachin, KAVITA's, only when they go to sleep is when we leave the house. Because we want to receive, we want to learn. The more time we spend with them, because being in association is a habit. Now, physical association has started. Correct? Is going to association a habit or an action that you need to take? You need to check these things, because what will happen when you make these your habits, it will become consistent. You don't have to think about it. It will just happen. It will just happen. For example, for people who are obsessive when it comes to cleaning, cleaning is a habit. They don't have to think about it. For people who choose to live a healthy lifestyle, we all have friends, yes or no, who are very health conscious when it comes to eat. We make fun of them. But of course, they are living a better lifestyle. They don't smoke, they don't drink. Correct? So what are your habits with respect to this business? Of course, there are other habits also. Like there are people who wake up, take a bath and pray. Fair enough. Carry on. Great things. But when it comes to your work, when it comes to your work ethic, leaving work incomplete, is it a habit? Are you always running against your deadlines? There are some people who have a habit of last minute, and I get so fed up, angry, frustrated. I can't understand why last minute. That same intensity which you do at the last minute can be done in the beginning, and you can, to some people, when I start working with them, I give, let's say there's a target that they decide, I will do 10 UVs or 30 UVs this week. I tell them, if you finish your 30 by Thursday or Wednesday, you enjoy and party, you go to Lonavala, have party, do whatever. Because I want to build a habit in them that you will not wait till Friday. Why to wait till Friday, and that to Friday last 3 hours to do your UVs? Correct? So at times, just to build a certain habit, being okay with rejection, being okay with the world laughing at you. Is there a battle in your mind when your relatives or some people in the colony make fun of you? I'll tell you what was the rumor doing about me in the colony, which I realized. See, 2011, by 2013, I bought my first German car, 2013 October, BMW 5 Series. And by 2014 Jan, I started traveling to Dubai and became a resident here. Of course, I should travel in and out. 2015 end, a childhood friend of mine signed up who is into politics. So he's a political worker. Earlier he was with NCP, now he's with BJP. That's in material. But he's a political karyakarta. So he came in 2015 and signed up with me. And when he came for the plan, I told him. So I showed the plan and he said, no, done, take money, done. So then I said, okay, fair enough, come, let's do a welcome. And he attended welcome also. Then he said, okay, now tell me how to make money. I said, yeah, you have to do your dream list, name list, we'll show plans. And he said, bro, tell me the real deal. And I'm clueless. Huh? Said, this is the real deal. You have to do work, you have to talk to people, you have to show plans. I'm a politician, bro. it's okay, you can tell me your secrets. I'm a childhood friend. And I'm thinking, what the F is he talking about? I had no clue. Correct? Then he said, I heard you are into smuggling and all. I said, what? Who told you this? So he said, I heard you become a smuggler, you've joined the underworld or something. I said, who on earth told you this? Look at this. I can barely kill a cockroach. Correct? What the hell? He said, you know what the rumor is doing the rounds in your colony? I'll tell you why. Because I had shifted to Dubai. So typical Bollywood style, all dons or all people who do wrong things are in Dubai. People call me Bhai. You know, we have this culture, Mohit Bhai, this Bhai, that Bhai. So Bhai in Bombay language is told to dons or people who work Bhai. And 3 left, 3 right cannot get you a German car. So among my friend circle, so-called friend circle, the other person who was making the most money before I came onto the scene, when my car became bigger than his car and my lifestyle, he floated a rumor. And this guy, he said politician, underworld, best friends. He signed up and then I took him to system, VCell, I showed him, I made him meet the entire thing. He went back and he hammered all my friends, bloody bugger liars because of you. I put in 5 lakhs and nothing happened. But I swear, when he told me that, after I digested that news and understood where he's coming from, I went and told my mom and I was laughing about it. I did not feel bad. I actually did not want him to go and kill the rumor because I said, listen, now I understand so much respect I get. You know, when I'm walking on the street, people look and nod and I said, itna izzat to kabhi nahi mila. So all these rumors came, I'm being very frank, and this will happen because, come on, imagine, we come from a country where Sita Ma also had to leave her kingdom or whatever because of the rumors that were floating around, correct? So we come from a culture where people gossip. Let's understand that. And that has happened for 5,000 years. You and I cannot change that. But initially, not even 2015 when this happened. My first 1 year, I used to get affected. The Punjabi ego in me would say, oh, bloody hell, this, that. Gautam used to calm me now. Relax. Relax, boy. Relax. Correct? So is that a habit? Do you get affected? Now, I'll tell you, I've reached a stage where you talk anything great about me. You talk anything bad about me. You want to believe a rumor about me. I'm all okay. I've reached the stage where I don't even, and I reached that stage long back. Because I'm too busy working and building my own dreams and achieving them. Correct? But point is, if it doesn't become a habit, it will not be consistent. Actions can never be consistent. Only habits can be consistent. Actions can never take you anywhere in life. Only habits can take. Of course, actions initially taken consistently will become a habit. So all you need to do in whatever you want to do, you want to build a healthy physique, make going to the gym and eating healthy food a habit. Bullshit to any diet, it will never work. Make choosing healthy food a habit and eventually it will happen. You want to be good at something, build habits related to that. And it will happen. You don't need to worry about the end goal. Just focus on what habits you want to build. So what habits you need to build here? Talking to upline, being in tight communication has to be a habit. Attending training systems, VCLs, spending time late night in association with upline, habit. Showing one plan a day, a habit. Doing your 5+3, a habit. If anyone from the team calls you middle of the night, pick up the phone and talk to that person, a habit. Being there for the team, a habit. Being in service to the team, a habit. Correct? Enjoying other people's success, no matter who they are, a habit. Even if your crossline is successful, enjoy his success. You know why? You're programming your subconscious that I enjoy success. So subconscious mind doesn't know he's successful or you're successful. Who? Subconscious mind knows someone becomes successful, you become happy. So you will attract success in your own life. A habit. Correct? And there's another way to put this whole thing. They say now, each thought gives rise to a word. A group of words make a sentence. A sentence put together makes it an action. An action done consistently becomes a habit. Your habits decide your character, and your character decides your destiny. If you have a doubt on this, or on the character to destiny, let me give you an example which I learned a couple of years back. You know, we all know about the Ramayana. I mean, at least most of us know. There's Ram and there's Ravan. For people who don't know, Ram was the good chap. We call him God. Ravan was the bad chap. So you can take it as a story or whichever way you want to call it. Take it. But who amongst these two was more successful? Ravan's success was like, bolte na, in the entire Tino Lok, everywhere across the universe they talk about. Who was richer amongst the two? Ravan, Sone ki Lanka, and Ayodhya was not that, correct? Who was stronger? Ravan's power was considered to be so big that he had, they say, no, kaal ko paye se bandh ke rakha tha usne. Even time could not move. No one in his kingdom could die without he being okay with it. He was that considered to be that powerful, even if we take it as an example or whatever. Correct? Who was older? Ravan was much older. Who was a bigger Shiv Bhakt? Who was a bigger devotee of God? Shiva. There was no bigger devotee of Lord Shiva than Ravan. Then why is it that Ram won? His character was better. So that's why the Ramcharitramanas, that's what it says. Your character will decide your destiny. So you have to become a better person. You have to become a better human being. If you don't work on this, I'm telling you, I'm working with someone for like, not working with someone. There's someone in my team who works and has been working for like 6 years. Very nice chap. You look at him, best plan, best presenter, this, that, doesn't make money on his TC. He can help his downline make money. And recently I got to know some not so good things about his character. Let's put it blunt, like in very simple words. And that's when I was talking to his working upline. I said, listen, everything going for him. Good presenter, diligent, works hard, this is smart, do everything upline will tell you, but a characterless person. He does not make money. Only one side works. So I don't know if this is the case, but I'm trying to tell you, see, this happens for everyone. Even for me, for some time, only one side is working. But if it happens for 5 years in a row, then I need to soul search within. Correct? So you have to choose your habits and make each thing consistent. Now, for people who let's say people who are more than 1 year in the journey, between 1 to 2 years, 3 years. Now, many of you all saw some money at some point, or saw some success. I think what you need to do is, what happens is at some stage in the journey, when you start making money, I'll tell you, for us, the benchmark was when you started earning 1 lakh a week. 1 lakh rupees a week 10 years back was good money. Correct? Some people will say even today is good money. That time it was really good money. Correct? Now, when you start earning 1 lakh a week, you tend to become complacent. Happens or not? Because 4-5 lakhs a month is good money. The problem is this business is either will go up or come down. It will never remain stagnant. Even if it's stagnant, it's actually about to come down only. So either 1 lakh a week will go to 10 lakhs a week eventually, or it will come to zero. But many times it can be a battle for someone. So there was a mantra that was given to us by our uplines. That when you start earning some money, it could be 50,000 a week for some people, it could be 1 lakh a week for some people, it could be 2 lakhs. There is always a zone where you tend to become complacent. What you need to do that time is stop looking at your checks. Only look at the checks of 6 people on the left and right, and work aggressively hard to increase those checks. Immerse your entire time into only earning checks for these people. 6 on the left, 6 on the right. And do whatever you did for your checks. Now intensify that and do that for those people. Because now you have to focus on checks of 12 people. No? For one person, it was okay. It was not too much of work. But for 12 people, you won't have time. I reached the stage in my second year in the journey, 13, 14 month or something. From that time onwards, I still remember for the next 18 months, till I increase the checks of these 12 people to 1 lakh a week. I would sleep maximum 4 hours a day was a luxury. And in that 4 hours a day sleep, I would wake up a couple of times to check my WhatsApp. I would 10 plans a day was not a big deal. It was a very normal day. There were days I would wake up and my voice would I would be like this. And I had to drink something so that the voice comes. And at times my downlines would wonder if the prospect comes on the table, will he be able to talk? I said, don't worry. The moment I see a prospect, the voice will come. Correct? It's somehow like that. And there's nothing else. And that there's 12 to 18 months after that second year period, I took all these 12 people to that level, and then the rest, honestly, since then, I never had to go back to this zone and work like that. So if you are there, what you need to do is, because what happens now, you look at your own checks and you become complacent. Ignore your checks will come. You won't have to worry about it. You only worry about the checks of people on your left. If initially you can't work on 6, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, take 3 people on the left and right and work. Now their checks should become your agenda. They may be a bit relaxed about it, but you can't be. And go and tell these people. So this was done by KAVITA to me and to me to these people. I told them, listen, my personal life, my family life, my health, my time, my festivals, anything is not my priority. Your success is my priority. And I will do anything and everything for that. And in that 18-month period, I don't have a real sister, it's just 2 siblings. My first, you have always a close cousin who you really feel good for, right? There are so many cousins, but few who you are really close. My close cousin sister got married. I was not there for a wedding. Correct? Why? Because I was busy on these people's checks. There was someone who needed my help. I was traveling. 7 years or 8, I think 7th or 8th year in my journey was the first time during the occasion of Diwali, I was at home with my family. Because we were told right now, only focus on helping everyone, be in service to the team. Correct? And that basically requires a lot of effort and a lot of patience, because many times when you're working on increasing these people's checks, some of them may not respond accordingly, and at times may take it lightly also. It is okay. You're not doing it for them, you're doing it for your own self. Correct? So point is, if you feel you're complacent after having spent a year or 2 in the journey and having seen some money, then basically you're only focusing on your checks. And that is the sure short way to die in this journey. There comes a time when you stop focusing on your checks. I think from the 2nd year onwards, my focus, I'm not saying I don't enjoy my checks, I don't enjoy my money and wealth and my fulfill my dreams. But the focus when I'm working is to increase the checks for these people. Correct? For example, let's say you're driving from Bombay to Delhi or wherever, and you're on your Google map. You're not focusing on Delhi. You're just focusing on what that lady from the map tells you where to go. Correct? So you need to know where your focus has to be. So if at all you're complacent, you're somehow missing out on this. And then working for people's checks should also become a habit, where you should feel bad if they miss their rank, where you should feel bad if they are not able to fulfill their dreams, where you should feel miserable if they are not able to do something for the family. To the point, I still remember Sachin told us once, imagine, see, all of us have a strong leg and a weak leg, correct? Now, I still remember, 3 of us were there, Sachin, he was talking to someone and I was learning, because whenever I'm around my uplines, they may be talking to anyone, if they allow me to be around them, I am a student and I'm the most selfish student. I sit like a beggar with a bowl, and whatever comes, I take and I receive. Correct? So I still remember he's talking to the person. He said, imagine your main leader or whatever, main upline on the weak leg, okay, on your cash out. If you are maxing out, but if you have to live your lifestyle on the income of this person's income, which means you earn 10 lakhs a week, but you have to survive on 1 a week from this lifestyle. You're already used to this lifestyle. What will happen to you? That person said, I'll just go bonkers. I'll not be able to do it. He said, do this for the next 3 months. Automatically, this person's checks will come up. So you should feel so much for your people's checks. and work aggressively. And again, as I said, the normal excuse in this situation will come, Arey, but I'm working, but that person is not taking seriously. It is not, you're not doing this for him, you're doing it for your own self. Correct? Your parents, when their children don't take certain things seriously, don't give up their own habit. To be a successful upline, you have to be like a nagging mother. You have to be like a nagging mother. You have to be like a parent. And if you're not there in your journey, when you look, for example, for all the parents on the call who have their own children, if there's any difference in your own mind between your own biological child and your downlines, you're not yet there as an upline. If there's any difference between your uplines and your parents or your mentors in life, you're mentally not yet there. Which means they are at the same position for me. I don't have a child yet, but I have my parents. My parents and my mom knows. If anything I would do today in life, I'll check with KAVITA. She knows. Without checking with KAVITA, whether it's my personal life, whether it's business, whether it's my health, the diet which I follow, everything is from her. The only thing I'm not able to do is leave non-veg. But apart from that, whatever, it's all because I just follow her. I just feel, and I've benefited. I know exactly how my uplines pay their bills, in the sense, there was a time when we were in Europe on some trip, and Sachin and we were going for a walk in the morning after breakfast, and we were talking. And I was telling him, bhai, always, not that I don't have money, just that you always miss the date of the bill and you do the late payment, correct? For your phone or whatever. Credit card bills, I never, because don't need to use that. So I said, how do you manage all these things? He's just talking about, how you manage. He said, I never am late on any payment. How many of you have this issue? We always, not that we don't have funds, but we are late on payment of certain bills. Correct? Like I still remember Vodafone is 100. So he gave me a very successful mantra and I said, okay, done. Very simple, huh? But I never thought of it. He said, Amit, you know what I do? 1st to the 4th of each calendar month, I only pay my bills. So these are the 4 days reserved in a month where I pay all the bills, whether they are due or not. So that way I am never late. Like a simple mantra. But even to that extent, I know how they book their flight tickets. I know how they decide which flight to take, whether a morning, afternoon, evening, whether to book through Emirates or to book through a travel agent. I know because they're more like family. They're more like my parents, and I need to know everything that my parents do. I need to learn from them. Correct? So that has become a habit. Anything and everything in my life, whether it's a personal, professional, crisis in my personal life, business, health, anything and everything they would know. Why? Because we are like, it's like, a lot of times people don't understand. They'll say, they see, my upline is my God. Have you heard this sentence? He's like God. Uplines are not God. Uplines are human beings only. But they are God sent in my life. They are sent by God to help me out. I firmly believe in this. Correct? Because all of us or most of us believe in God, if not all. God never comes down. We've never seen God. God never comes down to planet Earth to help us out. But He sends people in our lives. The fact that you and I are talking today and we are interacting, it's a master plan. Correct? So I believe in this. And I always am prepared to receive. And especially when it comes to my uplines. When it comes to, I was recently talking to someone and that person was judging someone and all that. I said, listen, I have learned one thing from my uplines, that if you're a student, you can learn from anyone and everyone. You can learn, if you want to learn, you can learn from the life of Osama bin Laden. If at all you can learn, you may only learn how not to be, but still you can learn. And to be a successful person, you have to be a good student. Like my dadi used to say, if you want Lakshmi in your life, you have to pray to Saraswati. Which means if you want wealth, you have to pray to the goddess of knowledge and wisdom. Correct? So what is your hunger? Is learning. Because certain times people start judging. Now I know what my upline will say. It's okay. Even if you know, sit with an open mind and listen and learn. There's something new you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get. And that something may make a simple mind shift in your mind, and that can be the reason for your max out. You're getting my point? Because successful people don't do different things. They do things differently. Remember, correct? So form the right habits, focus on what habits to cultivate, and think whatever will make you successful is what you need to invest your time in. Do not waste time. Do not waste time. That's the most precious commodity that you have. It's invaluable. I was reading long back an interview of Akash Ambani, now has become the chairman also. No, Mukesh Ambani's eldest son. And the interview asked, what have you learned from your grandfather? Because of course, the greatest person in that family is Dhirubhai. So what have you learned from your grandfather? Can you share something? He said, I clearly remember one lesson that he always reminded us. He said, everything else you can waste in life, never waste time. Correct? And imagine if Dhirubhai had to teach this to his grandchildren. And time is something, if you're working, if you've been in the system for some time, and you're following the basics, you're following your plan, you're not getting results, somewhere you're wasting your time. You need to stop wasting it. I mean, I'm telling you, delete certain apps and certain things from your life for the next 5 years. No need to go to movies. No need to watch Netflix. No need to watch any OTT. No need to watch. The world will not come to a standstill. Oh, because this person is not watching. No need to go out partying. No need to abstain from all that, because it's a wastage of time. It's a wastage of time. Long back, Chief, if you don't know, Chief, when he was young, when he started this journey, he used to drink alcohol and he gave up when he was 26. He gave up long back. And one of the reasons he said, when I also gave up is because, of course, there are other reasons. He said, I always want to be a good example. There's a lot of women in the network would tell him that we want our children to be like you. So I can't be a fake apply. But one reason which he said, I feel indulging in that is also a wastage of time. You waste time when you're doing that. I can utilize that time to build something. So become they say a kanjus Marwadi when it comes to time. Don't waste time. Think about where you're getting distracted, because your life will just flow. And in my investment banking career, Vallabh Bansali was like one of the founders of Enam Financial, which was the #1 investment bank that time, got merged with Axis. In our induction, he told one thing: time management is nothing but your life management. The way you manage your time is the way you manage your life. Correct? So stick to basics, follow your upline, cultivate good habits, because habits are only the ones which will be consistent. Actions will never be consistent, but actions initially taken consistently will become a habit. That's true. But if it still stays an action, if doing 5 + 3 is still an action for you, you're not yet there. Choosing to eat healthy food is still an action for you, you're not yet there when it comes to that aspect of your life. Correct? So build good habits, talking to upline, doing the basics, doing plans, attending training systems, being hungry for learning. Your hunger to learn should always be higher than your hunger to earn. And wealth will just come by default. At least in this journey. Your hunger to learn should always be higher than your hunger to earn. And remember, learning or knowledge is only one wing. For flying, the other wing is implementing that. So basically, today is a Sunday. What are you going to do after this system? People have their sharings, fair enough. Is coming for sharing a habit or an action? What are you going to do today? Are you going to line up maximum plans, talk to maximum people, do maximum catch-ups, do maximum info calls, sit with upline till late night? So is Sunday a time that, okay, today I have a lot of time to sit with my upline and in association and learn? Or, good system, fair enough, I'll do some sharings there and then I go back to sleep. Then it won't help you. Then no one can help you. And remember one thing, which my upline told me a few years back. You're sitting with KAVITA and she said one thing so few of us, the inner circle, were sitting with her. And we were telling her that, it's all because of you and all. You're just telling her what we felt in terms of why we are successful. She said, no, you're not successful because of me. So we were feeling that, oh, she's being modest. And we said, no, don't be modest. It's because of you, because you really helped us. In times in our journey where we were about to fall off, quit, give up, you were there. She kept on saying, no, it's not because of me. And we were not understanding, like, why are you being so modest? I mean, we're not getting your point. Either you're being too modest or I don't know what you're trying to see. She said, listen, whatever I did with you guys, I did with everyone. You were not special to me. But the others did not choose to take it seriously and implement. You did that. So you are successful because of you. I got a breakthrough, man. She said, I do not carry the pride of anyone's success nor the guilt of anyone's failure. I only carry the responsibility of my actions, which I do. And I do enough of it. If I don't do that, then I have a guilt or something. That gave me a breakthrough. So no matter how many systems you attend, no matter who's you're applying, no matter how great your team is doing applying knowledge, your success lies in your hands. What you choose to take from the entire ecosystem, implement, and then make whatever you want to make out of your own life. Correct? Everyone else is a support system. Your uplines are a support system, your system is a support system, everything else, books, DVDs, but you need to make the most out of it. And end of the day, trust me, it all boils down to what habits you cultivate. Which means what things related to business that you do in a day, where you don't have to use your brain, where you don't have to use your conscious mind. Subconsciously, it happens. Subconsciously, it happens. It's a part of the process. Correct? So build good habits and you will build a great future for yourself. Initially, you will have to do it consciously. Slowly, it will become a part of your life. And then eventually it will become where you cannot live without those things. Correct or not? There are some people who cannot live without being obsessive about cleaning all that. There are some people who cannot live without being obsessive about eating healthy food and talking about health and workout and this and that. It becomes an obsession. Those good habits. Correct? And you do this, one day you will be taking the system and talking about this to your people. So I think my time's up. It was lovely talking to you all. I hope you all learned something, but most importantly, start implementing whatever you learned. All the best. I wish you all the success. I wish you a great 2022 and lots of wealth and lots of money, and let's help. There are millions out there who are waiting for a phone call from someone to help him out. Reach out to those people, and I'm sure the more people you help, as Zig Ziglar put it, one of the greatest thinkers of the last century, if you want to have everything in life, help enough number of people have everything they want, and then you will have whatever you want in life. So let's go out and do that and live this statement. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you so much, Amit Bhai. It was, as usual, it was unbelievable listening to you. And we'll do the right habits, we'll cultivate those, and hopefully we'll see you soon again. But thank you so much, Amit Bhai.
Thank you, Bhai.
It was
Thank you.
great as usual.